Hello everyone, Dr. Kavita Sagar welcomes you for today's video lesson. Today we will be discussing about the origin of angiosperm flowers. So how did this angiosperm flowers evolved? So who are the ancestors of these angiosperms? Whether those are gymnosperms, whether the angiosperms have evolved from the gymnosperm ferns or whether they have co-evolved along with the gymnosperm ferns. So to prove this evolution, what are those fossil evidences, what are those molecular evidences? So all those things we'll be discussing in today's presentation. And the remaining part about the diversification of this origin of angiosperm flowers will be discussed in detail in the next coming video lesson. So come on friends, let's get into this. Angiosperms represent one of the greatest terrestrial radiations. So, the oldest fossil dates from the early Cretaceous period around 160 million years ago, followed by a rise in ecological dominance in many habitats before the end of the Cretaceous. Darwin referred to the origin of angiosperms as an abominable mystery in a well-known quotation taken from a letter to J.D. Hooker. And again, through contributions from various paleobotanists, phylogenetists, and classical developmental biology and modern developmental genetics, tremendous progress has recently been made in elucidating the origin and diversification of angiosperms. So, the closest relatives of angiosperms remain a mystery still now, but phylogenetic analysis of morphological features which were conducted in 1980s, they suggested that knee-tails were the closest living relatives. Cladistic analysis of extant and fossil taxa recovered a clade of Bennettitails, Pentoxylon, knee-tails and angiosperms. There are several hypotheses also which support the ancestor of flowering plants. What is a flower? Flower, classically, it is a determinate shoot that bears modified leaves, and of course a flower is a reproductive shoot assigned the function of pollination, fertilization and subsequent production of fruits and seeds, and all these functions are necessary to maintain the continuity of generations and also to multiply and extend the domain of a species. And therefore all evolutionary modifications in the structure of flower are attempts to optimize the success of one or more of the above functions. How did flowers evolve? Evolution flowers refers to historical changes in the morphology of a flower and reflects changes in genetic composition as recognized as transition from ancestral to derived type, that is from primitive to advanced type. Evolution is a simple, solitary and regular flower with indefinite free floral parts to highly complex and reduced flowers with adornate floral parts, as all these characters are seen in Asteraceae, and this characters is a major factor for the success and diversity of flowering plants. Flowers have evolved in the predictable fashion to match the mouth parts of pollinating birds and even insects, and bees are also known to affect plants evolution by spreading pollen and preferring to pollinate some types of plants over others. Regarding this co-evolution of bird angiosperms and insects will be dealt in detail in the next video lesson. Now you just understand that flowers have evolved in a predictable fashion in order to match the mouth parts of pollinating birds and insects, and also bees are known to affect the plant evolution by spreading pollen and preferring to pollinate some types of the plants over the others. There. So, there are two highly divergent views on the general habit of the earliest angiosperms. Those are woody and terrestrial or herbaceous and aquatic one. So this has actually been a long standing debate till now, and the hypothesis that the earliest angiosperms were woody is supported by the fact that most basal angiosperms are woody and all the gymnosperms are woody, as are the fossil lineages that are considered most closely related to the angiosperms. So, undisputed fossil records place a massive appearance and diversification of angiosperms in the middle to late Mesozoic era, and also earlier traces of angiosperms are scarce. Again, fossilized pollen recovered from Jurassic geological material has been attributed to the angiosperms, and the same geological period is also marked by the appearance of many modern groups of insects, including pollinating insects that played a key role in ecology and the evolution of flowering plants. So that means the flowering plants and the insects co-evolved, and a few early Cretaceous rocks show clear imprints of leaves resembling angiosperm leaves. By the mid Cretaceous period, a staggering number of diverse flowering plants crowd the fossil records. And again I was telling that angiosperms are woody and also gymnosperms are woody, and as are the fossil lineages that are considered most closely related to the angiosperms. Example, Chaetoniales, Benetiales, etc. And so as per the fossil records, one of the example can be seen here. This is a leaf imprint, shows as Ficus speciosissima. So it's an angiosperm that flourished during the Cretaceous period, and also a large number of pollinating insects also appeared during the same time. And this table shows you the stratigraphic and geological time scale. So during the Cenozoic era, there are about 60 million years ago, this was considered as the age of angiosperms, and the Mesozoic era, that is Cretaceous period, around 60 to 200 million years ago, this was considered as the age of gymnosperms, and the Paleozoic era, that is uh, uh, 500 million years ago, it was considered as the age of pterodaurs. This is just the table to make you understand these are different geologic time scale, and during the Cenozoic era, 60 million years ago, it was an age of ice. The view on origin of angiosperm flower by Charles Darwin is he considered the origin of flower was an abominable mystery. He has written this thing to the letter written to Sir J.D. Hooker. So this remains same even to the modern evolutionists. During Upper Jurassic and Lower Cretaceous period, there were scanty fossils, and also abrupt radiation of angiosperm fossils in the Upper Cretaceous period has made this uh, origin of angiosperm concept a mystery to even the modern evolutionist, and this was an abominable mystery even to Charles Darwin. And also abundant literature has accumulated on this issue. The proangiosperms like that existed abundantly in late Mesozoic era, these having the characters of both gymnosperms and angiosperms, are also considered as a precursors for true gymnosperms. Proangiosperms like Benetitales, Chaetoniales, Zygonoscales, and Didroptopolystachyiales. So these existed abundantly in Mesozoic era, and these proangiosperms have the characters of both gymnosperms and angiosperms. Hence, these are considered as a precursors of true angiosperms. Amborilla trichopoda is a primitive angiosperm. Is it true? So what are the reports say? Let us have a look into this. Amborilla, the sister to all other living angiosperms, is woody as a members of Austrobioleales, another early branching lineage of living angiosperms. Amberella trichopoda is a small plant native to rainforest of New Caledonia and island in the South Pacific. So it is an aquatic origin. An aquatic origin of angiosperms is supported by the fact that several of the earliest known fossil angiosperms were aquatic. Analysis of genome of Amborella trichopoda has shown that it is related to existing flowering plants and belongs to the oldest conformed branch of the angiosperm family tree. And a few other angiosperm groups known as basal angiosperms are viewed as primitive because they branched off early from the phylogenetic tree. And most of the modern angiosperms are classified as either monocots or eudicots based on the structure of their leaves and embryos. So basal angiosperms such as water lilies are considered more primitive because they share morphological traits with both the monocots and eudicots. So in this figure, in this tree, it can be understood that Amberella is nearest relative to Ostrobellales and Nymphales, and from angiosperm the gymnosperm originated. So Amberella is a bridge between nymphales and gymnosperms. And again there is a question or the main debate going on. So are magnoliales primitive, or some other orders are primitive? The belief that the most primitive strobilate flowers of Magnoliaceae is a direct derivation from the strobili of cycads or benedictales is also strongly objected based on the vascular anatomy and developmental pattern of Magnoliaceae flowers. The studies of vascular anatomy and developmental pattern of Magnoliaceae rejects that Magnoliaceae are not the rejects that Magnoliaceae are the most primitive strobilide flowers. And the strobili of cycads, benedictales and strobiloid flowers of magnoliales are analogous and not homologous and have different origin as a result of similar selection pressure. Then if not magnoliales, are Ranels or Amentiferae primitive flowers? So let us have a look what the classical and the advanced modern taxonomists have a view on this concept. Takhtajan in 1969 and Cronquist in 1980 strongly believed that primitive flowers were bisexual, moderate sized, solitary, axillary or terminal with perianth of modified bracts, leaf-like stamens, monosulcate pollen and conduplicate carpel. Whereas Engler, Prantl in 1925 and Wettstein in 1935, they regard that Amendiferous, that is catkin bearing flowers, were naked, unisexual and wind pollinated as most primitive, and the first view of course has a greater support, that is a view of Takhtajan and Cronquist. And again in 1979 Dilcher is one of the opinion that the primitive diclinous, that is bisexual, and monoclinous, that is unisexual flowers have followed a course of parallel evolution as both these coexisted in the early fossil history of the angiosperms. The bisexual and the unisexual flowers have coexisted based on the early fossil history of angiosperms. It's again a confusion whether Ranels or Amentiferae are primitive one. So here are the primitive characters and the derived characters and differences between these two group of characters, that is characters of a primitive flower and the characters of a derived flowers. So primitive flowers are usually woody and derived are herbaceous. Primitive are evergreen, derived are deciduous. Primitive have leaves alternate, primitive have leaves opposite and whorled, primitive leaves simple, derived leaves compound. In primitive, flowers will be solitary. In derived or advanced characters, flowers will be in inflorescences, and flowers usually will be large and showy in primitive flowers, and in advanced flowers will be small and inconspicuous. So why this large and showy flowers? In only to attract the pollinators. Since these are small and inconspicuous, these will be always in groups in order to attract the pollinators. Primitive flowers are perfect. Derived flowers are unisexual. Primitive flowers are complete, that is in four whorls, and here derived characters of the whorls are absent, or else if present also they will be reduced. Flowers will be having present on long floral axis, and derived flowers will be having short floral axis. Primitive floral parts are many and derived floral parts are few, or sometimes even absent, or if present also they will be reduced. Floral parts will be spirally arranged in primitive flowers, and floral parts in advanced flowers will be arranged in circles. There will be no conation or adnation, then there is conation or united or adnation in orchids are seen in advanced characters. The flowers are actinomorphous. Advanced flowers will be mostly zygomorphic. The calyx and corolla are similar to look alike, and calyx and corolla are totally different in these advanced characters. And in primitive leaf-like stamens are seen, and in advanced well-developed filament and anthers are seen. Apocarpy is seen in primitive flowers, syncarpy is seen in advanced flowers. There is a poorly developed style and stigma in primitive flower characters. Style and stigma are well developed in advanced characters. Pollination by primitive insect in primitive, pollinated by advanced insect in advanced characters, and primary wind pollination is seen and secondary wind pollination seen in derived characters. The origin of flowers is based on divergent hypothesis. So there are two hypotheses proposed for this origin of flowers. One is the woody magnolide hypothesis and another is polyherb hypothesis. As per the cladistic analysis by Doyle and Donohue, they favor an early angiosperm with morphology similar to living woody members of the Magnolias. And the carpels are imperfectly fused, and they make a physical intermediate between a folded leaf and the fused pistil. And the supported by the molecular studies and currently favored by most systematic botanists. The woody magnolide hypothesis is supported by most of the molecular studies, and most of the systematic botanists support this hypothesis. Another hypothesis is paleoherb hypothesis. So this hypothesis favors a herbaceous origin for angiosperms. And again, basal angiosperms were tropical paleoherbs with uncomplicated flowers and a mix of monocot and dicot features, as per the report by Anderson Doyle 2008, Taylor and Hickey. So paleoherb hypothesis favors a herbaceous origin of angiosperms. And so far we have understood that the fossil evidence of early angiosperms are very scanty, and the recent complete fossil discovery, including flowers, seeds and fruits of a new basal angiosperm family, Archaefructaceae, represented two species. The family Archaefructaceae represented two species. One is Archaefructus lyoningensis and Archaefructus sinensis. So these are the two species of Archaefructaceae, and these are two species are reported from northeastern China from the lower Cretaceous or upper Jurassic period, that is 125 to 145 million years ago. So this throws new light on the origin of angiosperm flowers. Whether the first angiosperms were forest shrubs similar to magnolia, that is long-standing view, or aquatic herbs, whether the angiosperms are aquatic herbs like the Archaeopteryx with the long, thin herbaceous stems and finely deceptive compound leaves, this remains, of course, unclear. And the near basal phylogenetic position of Nymphaeales, which also includes the well-known fossil Archaeopteryx, certainly indicates that the aquatic habit arose early, but ancestor of Archaeopteryx is not well known. Is Archaeopteryx Earth's first flowering plants? Archaeopteryx represents perhaps the oldest, most complete angiosperm fossil, and it is estimated to be approximately 115 to 125 million years old fossil. On the basis of morphology, it clearly was aquatic. The phylogenetic placement of the fossil Archaeopteryx as sister to all extant angiosperms as per the report Sun et al. 2002, plus the near basal phylogenetic position of extant Nymphaeales, that is water lilies, the below lends support to the view that aquatic habit arose early in the angiosperms and that perhaps the earliest angiosperms were aquatic. However, later analysis questioned the placement of Archaeopteryx as sister to all extant angiosperms, and some analysis of Fries et al. Placed Archaeopteryx with water lilies. And the recent discovery that Hydrotellaceae are a part of water lily clade, and hence a new branch near the base of the angiosperms greatly increases the morphological diversity encompassed by Nymphaeales clade. And this finding raised the possibility that Nymphaeales were once more much diverse and could have encompassed Archaeopteryx as well as other now extinct lineages. And hence it now seems prudent to keep an open mind regarding the placement of Archaeopteryx. So, it represents well the difficulty in placing fossil lineages that are morphologically distinct with no clear synomorphous with extant taxa. Yes, Archaeopteryx probably it is not a Earth's first flowering plants. And this exciting discoveries include all the parts of the plants and represent an entirely new but now extinct family. It may indicate the flowering plants originated in shallow water. Archaeopteryx, does this really throw a new light on origin of angiosperms? Certainly, angiosperms have not evolved from nowhere. Only a dominant group in Mesozoic, that is Lower Cretaceous era, is certainly the fern-like arborescent or shrubby gymnosperms, which include Chaetoniales, Zacanosteales, Dirhoplostachyales, Glossopteris, Pentaxylons, Venetiales, and Chaetonia. So all these things, gymnosperms or shrubby gymnosperms, which were terrestrials, therefore any angiosperm must have evolved from out of any of these groups only. Archaeopteryx is believed to be an aquatic herbaceous angiosperm close to Nymphaeales, and the belief that aquatic habit of angiosperms arose earlier than terrestrial is therefore doubted, and the paleoherb hypothesis is questioned. Yeah, let us have a look. What are those molecular evidences which prove the origin or evolution of angiosperms? So, one of the most exciting recent developments in the study of angiosperm evolution has been the enormous progress made in elucidating angiosperm evolutionary history. So, phylogenetic analysis based on an ever increasing number of gene sequences, they have clearly and unequivocally established the first branches of extant angiosperm diversity, and there are several studies which have revealed strong support for the sister relationship of Amberellaceae followed by Nymphaeales and then Austrobelales to all other extant angiosperms. So morphological and molecular data reveal a revised anthophyte clade consisting of fossils, Glossopteryx, Pentaxylon, Venetitales and Catonia. All these are sisters to angiosperms. And Amberella, as I said, it is a rare monotypic shrubby genus endemic to New Caledonia. Amberella and the Nymphaeales together form a first branching angiosperm lineage. And again, DNA analysis showed that Amberella trichopoda belongs to a sister group of earliest flowering plants, and it is also said that the orders Amberellales, Nymphaeales and Austrobelales diverged as separate lineages from remaining angiosperm clade at a very early stage in the flowering plant evolution. And again, an exciting recent molecular finding is the placement of Hydratella, that is Hydratellacea, in the Nymphaeales clade. Hydratellacea had been placed in the monocots, but molecular data revealed instead that the family is a part of a early diverging angiosperm clade, Nymphaeales with high support values. Hence, this is a dramatic phylogenetic shift, and this result is important in that it greatly expands the morphological diversity encompassed by the Nymphaeales. For example, Rudal et al. In 2007. So they proposed that the most of the plausible interpretation of the reproductive units is that each such unit represents an aggregation of reduced unisexual apetalous flowers, but this type is different from flowers of Nymphaeales. However, Hydratella has ascidiate carpel development consistent with placement in Nymphaeales. And after Amberella and Nymphaeales, an Astrobelales clade of Illysiaceae, Austrobelaceae and Triminaceae is the subsequent sister group of all remaining angiosperms, whereas these basalmost branches were well supported and resolved relationships among the remaining major and difficult to resolve with the 3, 5, 9 and even 11 gene data sets. So these were the reports by several molecular biologists who have tried to find out the molecular evidence, whether which are those sister angiosperms and which are those first branching angiosperm lineage and which are those orders which have diverged as a separate lineages. So as per the molecular evidences, Glossopteryx, Pentoxylon, Venetitales and Catonia, these are all the sisters to angiosperms, and Amberella and Nymphaeales together form a first branching angiosperm lineage, and the orders Amberellales, Nymphaeales, Astrobelales diverged as a separate lineages of the remaining angiosperm clade at a very early stage in the flowering plant evolution. Yeah, this is a stratigraphic sequence of major angiosperm pollen and leaf types in the Potomac group of East and Northern America. Just remember here there were different stages and these were the different Potomac pollen zones, and which were those types of pollens were originated or evolved during which stage, whether at Actian stage, what were the type of pollens and which are the types of leaf shapes. So this is just to make you understand. For example, at the Actian period in the zone 1, the pollen was monotypic and these are different types of leaves, that is monocot and alternately disciplined and palmately veiled and pinnately veiled and pinnately veiled with a smooth margin type of leaves were seen in zone 1 in Actian period, that is 125 million years ago, and 112 million years ago in the Angevin stage, that is
late, middle and early advent stage. Supposed to A, subjunctive B, and subjunctive C. Tricultate and tricorporate prolate type of columnate and triangular tricorporate means were seen. And these were the different types of leaves: palmatory vein, that is chordate shape; palmatory vein, that is palpate one; and pinnately vein, toothed margin; and pinnately dissected and compound and prominently lobed platanoids were seen.
What are those factors responsible for derivation of angiosperm flowers? Mainly tectonic events and environmental instability of angiosperm uh, flower, and also severe climate change. So due to this severe climatic change, there is a closure of carpel. So this closure of carpel could have evolved as an adaptation to seasonal drought, as per Axelrod 1970 report. And also the seasonal drought leads to the shift from wind pollination to insect pollination. Wind pollination is a gymnosperm character, so insect pollination is a angiosperm character. So these may be the factors which are responsible for derivation of angiosperm flower. And also it's reported that Anthophilus insects must have played a decisive role in the transformation of Gymnosperm strobilus into the angiosperm flower. So this is reported by Takhtajan in the year 1976. As per the report by James Doyle, based on the molecular and fossil evidence of angiosperm evolution, they have found that molecular trees in which angiosperm are sister to living gymnosperms, those are acrogymnosperms, imply that the stem lineages of the two groups split sometime before the oldest known fossil acrogymnosperms, namely Cordiatales in the early Pennsylvanian and the stem conifers in the middle Pennsylvanian. So this split into Cordiatales and stem conifers was probably significantly younger than the oldest known seed-bearing plants in the late Devonian plant, that is Elkinsia is the oldest known seed-bearing plants, which was found to be present in late Devonian period. And because of this, phylogenetic analysis places these several nodes below the seed plant crown node. And because Mississippian seed plants also appear to be stem relatives. And also the origin of the angiosperm crown group could be anywhere between divergence of the stem lineage and the first crown group fossils in the Valanginian. And molecular dating offers a means of estimating the absolute time between the stem and the crown nodes. Conclusions of today's presentation are based on reports by V.A. Krasilov and other molecular biologists. They say that the claim of monophyletic origin of angiosperms arose from the confusion of phylogenetic and taxonomy concepts. Unpreconceived studies of extant angiosperms point to more than one archetype. So, which are those archetypes? Those are monocots, protohamilidales, protolaurels, and proteophytes. So these are recognized among archetypes, and there are three groups of Mesozoic seed plants. Those are Cotoneales, Zakhanovskiales, and Dirhoptopolystachyiales. So these three groups are distinguished as a major sources of angiosperm characters, and these are which are considered as a pro-angiosperms. And also other Mesozoic lineages probably also contributed to the angiosperm character pool. And angiospermization is related to the mammalization and other processes involved in the development of Cenozoic lithosphere and biosphere. Molecular data on relationships within angiosperms confirm the view that there are increasing morphological diversity through the Cretaceous reflected their evolutionary radiation. Despite the early appearance of aquatics and groups with the simple flowers, the record is consistent with inferences from molecular trees that the first angiosperms were woody plants with pinnately veined leaves, multipartite flowers, uniovulate acidiate carpels, and columnar monosulcate pollens. So these are the characters of earlier angiosperms or the first angiosperms. Those are first angiosperms were woody plants with pinnately veined leaves, multipartite flowers, uniovulate acidiate carpels, and columnar monosulcate pollens. Molecular data appeared to refute the hypothesis based on morphology that angiosperms and needles are closest living relatives. So, angiosperms and needles are not closest living relatives as per the molecular data. Morphological analysis of living and fossil seed plants that assume molecular relationships identify glossopterids, bennettitales, and Cattonia and as angiosperm relatives. Which are those angiosperm relatives? Based on the molecular relationships, glossopterids, bennettitales, and Cattonia. These are relatives of angiosperms, and these results are consistent with the proposed homologous between the cupule of glossopterids and Cattonia and the angiospermic bitegmic ovule. And also Jurassic molecular dates for the angiosperms may be reconciled with the fossil record if the first angiosperms were restricted to West Forest understory habitats and did not radiate until the Cretaceous period. And the studies in paleobotany would result in better understanding and thus evaluation of taxonomic characters rather than in correction of putative lines of descent is necessary. So that is the end of today's presentation. This remaining part 2 will be continued in the next video lesson. Till then, dear friends, please take care and do not forget to subscribe, like and comment if you like this video. See you in the next video lesson. Till then, take care. Bye.